Hi, my name is Juan, and this is my YouTube channel, Sterling Diary. This YouTube channel is going to serve as a way for me to document all my sewing progression and for all of you to tag along. So for this project, I will be doing a deconstruction reconstruction of a two-piece jacket and skirt, and I will be making it into a cropped mock neck long sleeve shirt. I'll be explaining how I did the project throughout the video, but don't expect too much because I only have one angle. So let's go. I began by deconstructing the skirt, as the skirt was going to make up the bulk of the shirt. The back of the skirt had this beautiful curve pattern, and that's what gave me the idea of making it into a shirt. I wanted this curve pattern to be front and center, so I decided to make that the front of the shirt, and I ended up using the front of the skirt as the back of the shirt. I used the waist of the skirt to create the mock neck. The skirt also came with a zipper, so I ended up using that too, which made it a lot easier to actually take the shirt on and off. You can see here that I already removed some material from the skirt. This was because the skirt had quite a lot of extra material where the hips would sit. To counteract this, I seamed toward the two seams that were causing that, and removed some material from the bottom of the skirt to close the gaps up. Finally, for the first time, I turn on the machine and the needle hits the fabric. I actually really ended up liking the detail that the sides of the shirt, as you can see by me showing it off to the camera. After closing both gaps, I pinned the back and front of the skirt back together and asked my girlfriend to try it on so I can mark some vital measurements. I ended up making these markings while she had it on, so a lot of the measurements were very inaccurate, and that took a toll on the project in the long run. This cut marked the point of the project of no return. I made it with no hesitation, and unfortunately, this was the beginning of all my struggles in this project. I have never made a top where I had to sew any sort of neck, especially not one with a zipper. Because of this and my unpreparedness, I way overcomplicated the entire process, in turn giving myself many hours of extra work that were all unnecessary. As you can see here, I was struggling a lot with my machine. For some odd reason, I wasn't able to put in the zipper foot properly, which should be a very simple process. And now that I look at it, I wish I took this as a sign that I was obviously going down the wrong path with this project. Most of my problems stemmed from the fact that I tried to sew in the neck of the shirt the same way you would sew in the waist of a pair of pants, which calls for you to grab material and put it between the band instead of pinching the two ends together. This was probably because I have very little experience with tops and much more experience with bottoms. This next minute or so of video is me sewing in the neck incorrectly. After sewing in the neck the wrong way, the next day I ended up seam tearing the entire thing and restarting after watching some YouTube videos and brainstorming some alternatives. I didn't film this because I felt as if I was running a high chance of messing up again, and I didn't see it as worth it for all of you guys to watch even more footage of me messing up. I obviously regret that now because I actually ended up fixing the entire problem that same day. This was the third day of the project, and I was pretty happy this day. I successfully fixed the neck of the shirt, and it was looking quite good. And with my newfound knowledge, I was confident I would be able to sew in the sleeve with ease. And honestly, it actually went pretty smoothly. I removed the sleeve from the jacket off camera because I felt as if it was a little redundant to show how I removed the sleeves. The sleeves of the jacket were quite slim, and I wanted a much bigger arm, so I took some material from the back of the jacket and added it to the sleeve, which luckily ended up being the perfect amount of material too. After removing a good chunk of the jacket, I measured out a rectangle that I felt was appropriate in size and cut that out. I pinned that to the sleeve and sewed it on. I removed the cuffs from the sleeves because I wanted to slim them down further to give them a Regency era kind of sleeve, like big puffy arms and a very tapered cuff. After removing the cuff, I pinned it back together and checked if my girlfriend was able to slip it on. Then, knowing how much material I could remove, I cut it off. To put the cuff back onto the sleeve, I made some messy pleats to reduce the size of the sleeve to that of the cuff. I pinned that, sewed it, and for the most part, that was the bulk of the sleeve done. At this point, all that's left to do is to close up the sleeve and get it onto the shirt with a little bit of padding that you saw earlier to achieve that sharper shoulder that I'm looking for. I didn't get as sharp or as strong of a shoulder as I would have wanted, but I felt as if I at least put down a decent effort for an amateur like me. I tried to include a lining to cover up all the ugly hems and make the project a lot more professional, but that ended up being a tremendous failure, so I left the shirt as is. If I was going to sell these or any other product, I'd obviously include those touches, but since my girlfriend won't be wearing this super often, I decided against it. And frankly, I was much too deep into the project to even add a lining. This is the final product. It's got its fair share of issues. Like, I tore this by accident and it's got a lot of extra thread on it because of sewing and tearing it and sewing and tearing it. So, but this is the product of around, I'd want to say 5.5 hours of work. Obviously took a lot longer than I expected it to take, like it always does. But yeah, here are the pictures of my girlfriend wearing it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Until next time.